Great Explorers, written by Charlotte Gillane, illustrated by Jim Mitchell. Incredible Explorers. People have always wanted to find new places. Great explorers such as Christopher Columbus and Neil Armstrong made dangerous journeys into the unknown. Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic Ocean in the 15th century in search of new lands. Hundreds of years later, Neil Armstrong travelled into space and was the first human to explore the moon. Both these men are remembered in history for their discoveries. So, what does it take to be a great explorer? Who was Christopher Columbus? Christopher Columbus was born around 1450. He grew up in the port of Genoa in Italy. At that time, people were starting to travel further in ships to find new places to trade with. Christopher's father was a merchant. He wanted his son to make lots of money, so he sent Christopher to work on trading ships when he was just a boy. UK, France, Genoa, Italy, Spain, North Africa. Becoming an explorer. Christopher learnt the skills he needed to be a good explorer by sailing around Europe. He navigated using the stars and the sun, and he learnt how to use a compass and to make maps of new places. He wanted to find a quicker way to sail to Asia to trade, and he thought he could do this by sailing west across the Atlantic Ocean. The journey from Europe across the Atlantic Ocean. Discovering the Americas. Christopher needed ships for his voyage. After many years, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain agreed to pay for them as long as Christopher gave any new land and treasure to Spain. He set sail in August 1492 with 3 ships, the Santa Maria, the Nina, and the Pinta. The voyage was very difficult because the ships got damaged and had to be repaired, and Christopher's compass broke. After 36 days, they arrived in the Bahamas, but Christopher still thought it was Asia and named the islands the Indies. Much later, he found out he travelled to Central America, somewhere he hadn't known existed until then. Christopher found peaceful, friendly people living in the Bahamas. He saw they had gold, so he took some of them prisoner and made them give him the gold. Then he took some of these prisoners back to Spain. He made 3 more voyages to the Americas before he died. Who was Neil Armstrong? Neil Armstrong was born in 1930 and grew up in Ohio in the USA. He was very interested in aeroplanes as a boy. He had a license to fly an aeroplane at the age of 16, before he could drive a car. Neil as a young man when he worked as a test pilot. Neil's classmates wrote about him in his high school yearbook, saying, "He thinks, he acts, 'tis done." Becoming an explorer. Neil was a pilot in the US Navy and fought in the Korean War. Then he became a test pilot for fast jet planes. He was a very skilled engineer as well as a pilot, so he understood how the planes worked. He could also stay calm in difficult and dangerous situations. He was so good at these difficult jobs that NASA invited him to be an astronaut in 1962. Neil in the cockpit of a rocket-powered X-15 plane after a test flight. Neil proved himself working as a pilot of extremely fast planes. Walking on the moon. In 1969, Neil was in charge of a mission to land on the moon. He travelled into space with two other astronauts, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins. Neil and Buzz landed on the surface of the moon in a lunar module, and Neil became the first human to set foot on the moon. Neil and Buzz spent 2 hours on the moon, collecting rocks and taking photos. Down to Earth. Neil could look at the Earth from the moon and cover it with his thumb. It was so far away. But he said that this didn't make him feel like a giant. Instead, he felt very, very small. Millions of people across the world watched on television as Neil walked on the moon. When he came back to Earth, he was famous, but he didn't like the attention. He didn't go on any more space missions, and instead became a teacher at a university. Neil, second from right, and the other Apollo 11 astronauts meet US President Nixon, far right. What makes a great explorer? Christopher Columbus was a great explorer because he learnt the skills he needed to navigate. He was determined. It took years to find someone to pay for his ships. He was brave to sail across an unknown ocean. He was a good leader. Neil Armstrong was a great explorer because he studied engineering and understood how spacecraft worked. He was brave. He often faced danger in his work. He stayed calm and in control when things went wrong. He treated the mission to the moon seriously and didn't try to show off. How we remember Columbus and Armstrong. We remember Christopher Columbus as a famous explorer who found new lands around the world. We know that he was skilled and courageous. but he treated the islanders he met badly by stealing from them and using them as slaves. Neil Armstrong will always be remembered as the first human to walk on the moon and for the words that he spoke as he stepped on it. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.